Those assigned to perform ventilation are in a unique position to make valuable observations. During ventilation, firefighters should note if windows and doors were left open or unlocked, the color and density of smoke, as well as any strong or unusual odors at the scene. While the use of SCBA severely restricts the sense of smell, sometimes these odors are detectable outside the structure. During the suppression phase of an incident, firefighters are not only making observations of the conditions found, but also about how the fire behaved during the incident. Behaviors such as flame color, sounds, or reactions to suppression efforts may all be clues to the skilled fire investigator. A firefighter may also notice streamers or trailers. These are lines of combustible materials intended to aid a fire in spreading throughout a building. Indicators of a possible incendiary device include items such as a pack of matches attached to combustible materials or to a mechanical device of some sort.
During the overhaul phase, the firefighter and fire investigator really should be working side by side. Normally the way I used to like to work would be, I would literally be at the shoulder of the firefighter. The firefighter's responsibilities are going to be to make sure that the fire's out. The investigator is going to be concerned with evidence and the preservation of evidence. And I know many times in my career as the investigator, I would cringe when firefighters applied water in what I thought was too careless of a manner. The overhaul phase is a time where you can be careful with the application of water, hopefully applying it in small quantities as needed. Very commonly, we would use a thermal imaging camera in conjunction with overhaul activities and really try to apply the minimum amount of water necessary. And anything that perhaps is shielded by burned objects in terms of evidence, by carefully applying water, you can sometimes preserve evidence in that regard. The firefighters during the overhaul phase can aid in an investigation by observing anything that's unusual in the fire scene, anything that to them looks out of place. For instance, if you're going into a normal house, you would expect to find, let's say, family photos up on the wall, clothing in the closet, things along those lines. If the family photos have all been removed prior to the fire, clothing has been removed from the closet, perhaps the TV has been removed, items of value have been taken prior to the fire, that should be something that definitely should be mentioned to either an officer and/or investigator. Steps that a firefighter can take to preserve evidence would include, number one, making sure that his or her colleagues are aware that any given object is potentially evidence and then protecting it from being disturbed either with perhaps tarps, salvage covers, as a last resort, maybe a garbage can turned over. And I would say if you're going to do things like that, just mark the area and let your crew know why you're doing what you're doing. And just kind of spread the word to anybody else that's coming into an area that, hey, this may be potential evidence here. Don't disturb it, please. Firefighters and investigators should be wearing PPE and gear during overhaul. Unfortunately, I started my career at a time when we didn't routinely use PPE and SCBA during overhaul or the investigation. And a number of my colleagues have come down with cancer. And certainly we are now way more aware of the risks of cancer associated with our jobs and are hopefully doing everything we can to minimize those risks.